It's the 3 on PLAXtv.
Actually, yeah. What's good, y'all? It's your boy PLAX9 back with another episode of The 3 on PLAXtv. And in this episode, I am talking about the World Cup USA basketball team. Now, when Team USA dropped the roster for the World Cup team for this year for the qualifiers, and I don't know exactly how the Olympic shit worked, but I feel like if you win the World Cup or like get far in the World Cup, you qualify for the Olympic Games and then you progress on from there. When they dropped the roster for this World Cup for the USA team, everybody had jokes. Everybody was like, damn, like this team is kind of mid. Like, why are we sending these guys out there to qualify us and win the World Cup and stuff like that? And I'm not gonna front, I was one of the people that was like, this team don't look great, you know? Like, it's a lot of good, decent guys on there, but it was nothing that was like, you know, jumping out to me. I was like, this ain't really the scariest team that we could put out there. But I watched them play. I watched them practice because they showed some of their practices on NBA TV. And like, I kind of looked more in depth at the team and like how it was made up. And I understand this team now. And I understand why Team USA and Grant Hill and Coach K and all of them, whoever's in charge. I think Coach K is in charge of that now. All those guys put this team together. So in the forefront, it's like you probably looking at this list and you're like, oh, this team is average in comparison to what we could put out. Because they have, let's look at the list now. They have Paolo Banchero, who just got off of his rookie season, he's a really good forward. They have Mikal Bridges, one of my guys. Shout out to the Nets, one of my guys. Jalen Brunson, who had a wonderful season last year and took the Knicks further than they probably would have went without him. Anthony Edwards, the upcoming shooting guard. He got potential to be dominant at times. Like, he could get to the rim. He could shoot a little bit. He played great defense. Tyrese Halliburton, I would say, out of young guys, probably the most like just efficient young guard. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's very efficient. He's smart. He can make a play. He can knock down open shots. He could get his own bucket if he needs to. Brandon Ingram, again, another solid forward. Jaren Jackson Jr. at center, or at power forward center. Cam Johnson, another one of my guys, who's another solid forward who plays both sides of the ball, could get his own bucket, play defense, could make a play, could do a lot of different things on the court. Walker Kessler, another young guy that had a really good season last year, a lot of rebounds, a lot of defense. That's all you really need from him. Bobby Portis, a solid big, a veteran presence at the same time. And Austin Reeves. Everybody loves Austin Reeves from the Lakers. He had a great season last year. Sometimes he kept the Lakers in games. Like, even on a team with LeBron and Anthony Davis, sometimes he was the go-to guy in the clutch. Or when they were down and they needed some quick buckets to get back in it. Austin Reeves was that guy, and that's why he's gotten so popular lately. And again, I know you probably look at that team and hear that team and you're probably like, oh, this is average. This is mid. We could put better players out there. But I think Team USA looked at the last World Games we played when we had the stars out there. Like, they had Tatum, they had KD, they had like Julius Randle, like all the bigger name guys. Not all of them, but some of the bigger name guys out there. And I think that was either 2021 or 2022. And they won, right? But they struggled. And they didn't struggle because teams were necessarily better than them. They struggled because they didn't care. You see what I'm saying? Like, they weren't, like, they just seemed nonchalant about it. They just figured they'd go up there and dominate, which in theory they did, but they had issues where they shouldn't have had issues. I believe they lost to like a Nigerian team and like the Puerto Rican team. Like, they lost a couple games that they shouldn't have lost. You know what I'm saying? And I only can attest that to not giving a fuck. And KD, I know this is kind of turned into a KD hate page. I don't want this to be that, but a lot of the statements I make about him is true. KD was the best player and the leader on that team, and they were following his lead, and he was very nonchalant. He didn't really, he didn't care about like the other teams. He wasn't respectful to the other teams in the sense of Like just showing the common respect. Like even if you know you're gonna win, he kind of just shrugged everybody off. And when you're the best player and the leader on the team, and you're taking that viewpoint on it, everybody in some form or fashion is gonna follow suit. Like yeah, the team had Draymond Green and other guys like that, but KD was the leader. You know what I'm saying? And Tatum and those guys were the leaders, and they followed suit with what KD was doing. Also, something that I heard before, I think Coach K was saying it, I believe. It's great to have all the superstar best guys in the NBA on the USA team. That works. But in situations like the World Games and the qualifiers and even sometimes the Olympics, what if those guys don't want to play? You know what I'm saying? Like KD, LeBron, AD. Well, AD's not old, but all of those guys aren't getting younger. And I'm sure they want to spend their summers at home. Even if they working out and stuff like that, I'm sure they want to be at home. Like, I don't think we're ever going to see LeBron in the Olympics again. You know what I'm saying? Not saying he can't, but I don't think we're going to see that. Kevin Durant's getting older. Russell Westbrook is getting older and kind of regressing a bit. We don't have Carmelo Anthony anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just different guys like that either aren't available, don't want to play, or are too nonchalant to care enough to play the way they should. You know what I'm saying? So I think Coach K kind of was like, okay, let's go younger. Let's get the young upcoming stars. Let's build around them because they're excited to play. We could build for future references. We could keep a solid squad together that we always send out. So we're never scrambling to try to find players to fit in. You see what I'm saying? Like Spain, Argentina, Puerto Rico, Lithuania, Serbia, all of those teams, Olympic teams, send the same guys out every time. Whether it's the World Games, the Olympics, qualifying games, they always send the same guys out no matter what. And those guys play together from 12 years old to they 40 or 50, because I think Luis Scola was playing on the Argentinian team for like 30 years or something like that. And Manu Ginobili, even after he retired, he played a couple more seasons for the Olympics. And I think even Luka's been on his team for a long period of time since he was like 16 or 15 or something like that. So they build teams together so they know how to play together. So when you flip that to the USA, and every year we got a different team, not every year, but every time the Olympics or the World Games come along, we got a different team. It might be certain similarities, but for the most part, it's like different. Like one year like in 2012, right? The Redeem team. We had Melo, D-Wade, LeBron, Kobe. We had, I think Dwight might have been on that team. Tyson Chandler, Carmelo Anthony. Like we had Russell Westbrook, Durant. We had all these guys. In 2016 comes around, and the team is basically different. I think, did we have Bron in 2016? I don't remember the 2016 now I think about it, but I don't remember it being the same as the Redeem team. I think there was a lot of differences. I think we had D Rose on that team, I believe. I think we had I think Bron and KD might have been on that team. And then in 2020, it was a different team. I think that just sets a precedent for uncertainty. When other teams are sticking together, not again, the United States is better at basketball most of the time, and I get that part. But the other countries are getting better too. Like the top players in the NBA right now, like top 5 guys, 4 of them are from a different country. You see what I'm saying? So that just goes to show that overseas is improving and getting better and building stars. And the more that happens, the harder it's going to get for us to win games. And I think Coach K and them is like, okay, it would be better for us to just take young stars that lock in with us, that we'll have for the next 12 to 16 years, put those guys out together every time. So now we're not just putting the stars out there, we're putting cohesive stars out there. You see what I'm saying? I think that's what they betting on with this team. And I agree with that. And I apologize for thinking like everybody else was thinking, oh, this team is mid. But it works. Like Like the forwards, like just the forwards alone. You got Paulo Banchero, you got Mikal Bridges, you got Anthony Edwards, you got Brandon Ingram, and you got Cam Johnson. Like those guys are two-way forwards. Guys that can play multiple positions, guys that can make plays, guys that can get their own bucket, guys that can play off the ball. And they all basically play similar to each other. Some might be more flashy than others, like Anthony Edwards, I'd say is a little bit more flashy, but you're getting the same thing. So if you sit two guys down, you're putting two guys in that are basically the same. And in the Olympics, I think that's something that you need. It's different in the NBA, right? Or even in the Euro League. Like you might be a little top heavy with stars, and then you got guys that might be lesser that come in and do what they're good at, and then they sit back down, right? In the Olympics, you need everybody to do what they need to do. You need some guys to play different roles than they may play in the NBA. Some guys might be stars in the NBA, but here I just need you to set screens and knock down your shots and play defense. You see what I'm saying? And I think that goes into it too. When you have like superstar guys like KD and LeBron, it's tough to sell that to them. It's easier to sell that to a sophomore or a rookie or a third-year guy. Like, hey, I know you've been playing really good, but I need you to set screens and knock down shots for me and play defense. These guys are more likely to be okay with that than a KD or a Russell Westbrook or a LeBron or a Carmelo Anthony or guys like that. At the guard spots is great. Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton. Now, these two guys might not be the best guards in the NBA, right? But they're efficient, they're solid, they're clutch, they're two ways, and they knock down their shots. You see what I'm saying? They can get their own buckets. Again, like the forwards. Guys that can do multiple things. They're team players. They're not going to be complaining about touches or anything like that. That's what you're looking for. And then the bigs. You got Jaren Jackson Jr., Walker Kessler. That works because those are two defensive-minded bigs. Can Jaren Jackson score a little bit? Yes, but he doesn't need the ball in his hands. He's fine with rebounding, catching lobs, and playing defense. He just won Defensive Player of the Year. Walker Kessler, I think he can win Defensive Player of the Year one day. You see what I'm saying? So from being a guy that was that was making fun of the team at first, along with everybody else, I'm just starting to understand. I know I kind of rambled a little bit. I didn't really have notes for this video. I was just going off the top. But I understand the more I look at it, the more I remember stuff that Coach K has said in the past. And just like how this team specifically is built, I think they're just building for the future, trying to keep a team together, whether they become superstars or not. And then it's not just like assuming, right? It's not just assuming because we think Anthony Edwards is going to be a superstar at some point. Mikal Bridges has proven that he could be an all-star level player. Cam Johnson plays very similar to Mikal Bridges, and they're also very good friends. So you get Mikal Bridges, you get Cam Johnson, they're similar players. It works out. Bobby Portis, that's your veteran presence. Bobby Portis is not going to complain. He can knock his shots down in the corner. He plays defense. He gets rebounds. That's what you need. Walker Kessler, he plays defense. He gets rebounds. That's what you need. I think out of all the guys, Brandon Ingram might be the most, more star guy, I guess. But even him, he's not the best player on his team. He is because Zion is out a lot, so most of the time he is. But when the team is fully healthy, Brandon's not the best player. He's the second best. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes when CJ McCollum is really going, he might drop down to third, so he has to play defense and make plays and do other stuff. You see what I'm saying? They put a team together that not only can do other things, but are willing to do other things and not complain about it and take the World Game seriously, take the qualifier seriously, and ultimately take the Olympics seriously so the United States could continue on winning and continue on dominating and not have a fiasco like, 2000 or 2004, whatever team that was that lost. I think that I definitely think that's just what it is, and it took me a minute to realize that, but I like it. I like it. And I watched them play, and I like how they play together. It's like the Spurs, really. It's like the Spurs. Y'all know I love the Spurs. It's like Spurs basketball, and I think it's gonna be great. And I think we're gonna win the World Cup, and I think we're gonna win a gold medal in 2024. But let me know what you thought of this video in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ding that notification bell so you know every time I drop a video. Let me know what you think of the USA team in the comments down below after what I just said. Do you still think they suck? Do you think they're going to win something? Do you think they're going to lose? Let me know. And most of all, YouTube, I love you guys. Peace out.
It's the 3 on PLAXtv.
Actually, yeah.